All right.
All right.
I'm gonna bring up a couple of verses here, but something that maybe that we don't see too much in the church world or just in general, of what might happen, what kind of experience is God gonna put you through to experience some of these things at some point in your life if you are becoming like Christ, Christ-like.
Oh, no doubt you can count on it. So
You
you
can
got
count on it. It might as well be a promise, right? When
right.
you
It's
say,
exactly
I
right.
mean,
Yeah, it speaks of our life. That's right.
okay,
And if it's not happening, there's something missing. But who's going
that
to
that's
miss
true.
separation in their own family? They're just going to say, "Oh, my family's good."
Yeah, that's the confusing
Yeah,
misunderstanding,
yeah,
lack of
yeah. That's
understanding.
why you can't understand it because it just seems good. It's a worldly good way that seems good.
It,
People even say, "Oh, I'm blessed by God. Everybody in my family's happy." We all get along really well. We'd love to go to the baseball game together. You know, okay.
yeah,
That's what they're telling me. I don't have any real relationship with God. Everything's worldly normal around here. I'm never persecuted. I live in America where there's no persecution. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what Christ was talking about. What it would be like living in America one day. In fact, what it would be like to be you, somebody who doesn't know me or understand what I've just said here at all. You will be persecuted. You will be persecuted. The world cannot and will not tolerate a growing innocence or any type of lack of activity or activity that doesn't fit in with what their daily idea of a good activity is. If it doesn't fit in and it convicts other people and makes
in
them think, who does he think he is? Is he better than us? He never cusses. He never, whatever. It doesn't go well.
yeah. Okay, I'll just get over with the reading part of it at least.
Okay.
Um, Matthew 10:21, and brother shall deliver up brother to death, and father child, and child. Oh, you know what? This is my fault. I'm using. Let me use a different translation. Now,
No.
brother will deliver up brother to death, and a father his child, and children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but he who endures to the end will be saved.
Right. It's a long and tortuous process, full of suffering. But then we also read and understand God doesn't give us more than we can handle. And as we have the experience of what that verse is speaking about, we go, wow, how does this happen? What's the judgment here? What am I being accused of doing? What's the problem? But you grow to understand and see it. Oh my goodness, this is what God promises anybody that grows more and more mature in Christ, that becomes ever closer to who and what Christ is, the mind and heart of Christ. It will not be tolerated. It's just the same thing as what parents do to children. Sorry to say, but people cannot tolerate the innocence of a child. What's it do, right? It embarrasses them at times. Say out in public, and
Oh
the kid,
yeah, yeah, that's a
yeah,
good point.
oh
That
yeah, and the,
I've
and the
seen.
kid
We've
will go,
all.
"Oh, mommy, what's wrong with that fat person? Look how fat they are." So what? It's a kid.
or or they might bring up something very personal that they've heard but don't really understand in a relationship or something and just blurt it out and everybody's just quiet, we've seen that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, and don't they
It's
see it
very
the child?
innocent. Huh?
Yeah, and the mother is going to do everything that she can to stop that from happening
Oh
again.
yeah.
Why? It embarrasses her, and the child is a reflection on who she thinks she is in the world, in the eyes of others, and that's more important than her child.
Just had a strong wind come and shake that fake, person that's she's
Right.
upholding to be.
Unless,
you know,
right, unless you become like little children. However, not exactly like that. It's like
right,
a grown.
like
It's that you're right. It's like it's a grown up child with the maturity
in
of
a
of Christ that sees that and lives that, but just doesn't
in
blurt it out and say I'm innocent. Now
right.
here, look at that
It's
fat person.
yeah, you go back, yeah, and you go back to kind of becoming like a kid in a lot of ways, not necessarily perfectly just like, a physical kid, but a lot of the experience you had when you were a kid, the maybe even the trust that you had, like you're so small, you don't understand anything, you don't understand yourself, so you really, trust your parents or hold their hands. That's how we're supposed to be with, you know, the Father.
Well, you
Tr-
get to be that way because
Trust.
you're living a life of giving. If life is giving and giving is living, it's not about who you can trust or not. You're just a giving person. And in this world, that's unacceptable. Everybody's got to be giving to get something. You've got to have an agenda. And if they don't understand your agenda and that you're trying to get something, you're just a normal person, what are you trying to help me for? What have you got to give me? Who do you think you are? It's con.
Right.
Why are you giving something to me? What are you trying to get? What's your real agenda?
And
What are you trying to take from me?
the
And pretty soon
first
you're bad.
and yeah, the first thing people want to do is pay him back as fast as possible too, which is we get, it's understandable, but it's all about that, balance of paying back, and he did this for this, now I'm going to do that because he did that, and then we're equal, we're square, we're even. That kind of mindset and mentality where you're not just giving and then just letting it go and forgetting it that you ever did that, and don't expect anything back. And you probably won't get it back if you don't expect it back or beg for it sometimes, whatever it is. Someone might just, I don't know, forget to pay you back, forget to do whatever it is that they supposedly owed you.
So didn't you have another verse there, Ryan, that went with this one? You were saying before?
Uh, just that it's a quote almost word for word from the Old Testament, but not another verse from Micah 7, I think. But
What about Christ came with a sword?
oh, Christ came to bring a sword in the earth or something like that. Um, yeah, he didn't come to bring peace the way that you might think or understand, but to divide, mother against brother, father against son, all that, that we're someone who's becoming more spiritual just by their life and the way they live will expose those who are not, and then there will be like a separation there, a, a wall sort of
Well,
divider.
and even without, because as people are exposed as to what their agenda is, and other family members may even realize there's no love there, they'll divide over that too, over their own carnality, over their own judgments of each other, outside of what God's love is. It tends to either bring people together or separate them. And in most cases, it's separating those people out that God's chosen in order to refine them, judge them, and develop a personal relationship where a person's identity is fully dependent on what their relationship with God is and nobody else. People take offense to that too. They'll see that you're not dependent on them, or there's something where you don't need them. It's almost like you don't want them, or you don't want to go along to get along. It's not that you don't want to go along to get along. Well, it is, but it's more like your focus and your attention is somewhere else that has nothing to do with who they are and what they're about. The only
Yeah,
union
you're
you can have with them is if they were on the same road and path you were.
exactly. They're going one way and you're going another, and it's not that you hate them, although it may come across as hate to a lot of people. Uh, you're focused and going on this road, and it appears exactly like you said, like you don't need anybody or want anybody, even though
And you
that's
just
not
don't act
true.
right. You just don't do the right things. You're just not living rightly. You're not going after what you should be going after. You're not
Right.
becoming successful. You're not going to the games. You won't play any games with me. I don't know. I just know there's not much in my life that has much of anything to do with what other people are doing, what they want, what they're going after, and what they're chasing all the time, chasing something.
Yeah, you might not even be invited on purpose because they just are going to assume you wouldn't come anyways, you know. I've experienced that. I know you've experienced more than I've experienced.
Or you make them feel uncomfortable is more what it is, because they always know there's a time when you come there that you just don't quite fit in. And
Yeah.
if you don't fit in because of something that has to do with who and what Christ is, and those beliefs which are opposed to the ways and beliefs of the world, you're just not fitting in. People sense this and they feel convicted. There's something missing in their life. They're chasing everything else but God, anything, whatever it is. Doesn't even matter. Anything, as long as it's anything or a group of things. So divided or seemingly so clean cut or so healthy that it can't be anything but good. I'm just saving my money and going after making money. I'm just taking care of the kids full time, night and day. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything can be somebody's God.
True. Anything. It doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be a physical anything. It could be an idea that you worship or a belief, whatever.
Anytime about anything. Anything anything and everything but God as one's focus is addicted to anything and everything but God. Because God, the mind and heart of Christ, is the only mental state of what brings freedom. The others bring attachment on things that'll fail, fall apart, rust, don't last, and always let people down. And sets people up for failure too. Look at these people that jump out the window because they lose their money. I mean, how bad could it be that somebody jumped out the window because they lost their money? What's wrong with that? Who would do that? Nobody would say, "Oh yeah, I would do that."
Right.
Here's when they find out what they would do.
They
Take it,
wouldn't.
take it all from them. And not just money. Take everything that they value from them that isn't God, because you can't take God from a person.
You
So
can't take
that's the one
yeah.
relationship nobody can break. If God be for you, what and who and can be against you? And the love of God never fails. But tell you what, you give it to people, they'll set you
Um
up to fail just because they feel that you shouldn't be as peaceful or joyful or as satisfied as you are or as content as you are. Then jealousy will come in and set you up in some way, pull the rug out from underneath you at the hands of people that don't are jealous or envious, or just the fact that you're content, upsets them, and that you just don't go along with, or you're just not the way you should be. So
yeah.
we'll pull some rugs out from underneath you and see if we can upset you, because we don't like to see you be that content. You're making us look bad. Yet they don't even have that exact thought. It's just like a sense of, you're making us look bad. You're making me feel bad. You're making me feel uncomfortable. What are you really about? I know it's not me, and they're right. It's not
Yeah.
about them.
That's a very practical, true everything you said. That's what you'll start seeing in your life. People will test you. They'll say things, try to trip you up, make you screw up, and just like with Jesus, if they could get you to say one thing, one hateful thing, one whatever, that's going to make them, oh, yes, this guy's just like everyone else putting on a mess show or whatever, thinks he's righteous, blah, blah, blah.
Well, look what they
You
did to
know?
him. They worked night and day on how to set him up so they could have a reason or an excuse that they believed was righteous to kill him, or have people kill him, or have people to hate him constantly. In fact, that's all you ever read about when they're thinking about him or talking about him. It's how to set him up, how to catch him, and saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long before they did. That was
You,
bound to happen.
you,
Somebody that wants to set you up to look bad can do it.
yeah, it can be done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not that hard.
There's man, what does it say? Man was created to be upright, but he seeks out many schemes or whatever. Evil, that's easy to do. Impossible to do good, though, on your own. It's not something you just, oh, my heart just chooses God today. No, that's not happening.
So, also about the verse that you read, uh, people do, they say, for example, like resentment. People take it for granted. It's almost like resentment's no problem. You get a little resentment here, a little resentment there. Just grow up, get over it. It's no big deal. People fail to forget that they've been resenting, in other words, reacting to things that they believe are unjust. And many of them may have been, especially when they were young, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, when treatment is almost like 50 to 90% unjust because your worldly bosses are really just demanding that you perform according to what they want and you're a kid. That's a pretty serious dichotomy. What a kid wants and what a parent wants pretty much is two different things entirely, unless they're at this point where they're letting you go. They're just going to let you be you. They're going to let you be a kid for a while. But the resentments build up in people, and those resentments fester and foster over time. They don't just go away. You don't forget them. They're in a person's brain, and they're adding up. And every time there's that little emotional tinge, and the prideful, self-righteous person is collecting, or all these resentments collect in them, and their identity becomes emotionally attached to what they believe their life is, their identity, who they are. And if that emotional experience or reaction to somebody is too strong, somebody will come up and kill somebody. Happens all the time. They wake up in jail. I don't know what happened to me. The mother says, I don't know. I drowned my kids. I don't know what got into me. Or people act bad all day and go, I must have got up on the wrong side of the bed. And the resentment's what they do too, building up over time. You have enough things that don't go your way, and you can have pretty well some bad time in a virtual explosion. And one big hate comes out of the person, like they blow up.
Right.
Well, how did that happen? Put a knife in their hand at the wrong time and look out. You've got a murderer out of the guy. He was such a nice guy. He would help me with my lawn. It just surprises me that he did that. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe she ended up killing him. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else to add.
People don't know who they are. It takes Christ in your life to point out and show us who we've been, what we have been. As we read in Ecclesiastes, I just wish the prophet said that man could just see himself as a beast that he is. They're vicious, cruel, brutal. Absolutely no real care for anybody or anything but themselves. And they don't even know what myself is. They're after stuff that they've learned to go after. Unless it's food, that's kind of obvious. But anything extra, and it's always extra. It's never enough. You get enough food, and pretty soon you want more. You have a wife, now you want 2 or 3. More likely at another time when it comes to the multiple wives. Or if you're Mormon today.
Right. Yeah. No,
All right. Any last comments on this, Ryan?
No.
All right. Now it's time to say goodbye.
All
to
right.
all our friends and family.
Next time, maybe we'll do a good free will article and how we met. I think that'd be a good.
Oh, yeah. The atheist or agnostic who read the Bible from an objective point of view and said, there's no free will in here. This book
Yeah.
denies free will. It's anti-free. There's no free will in it. And he has no agenda, and he's not following any denominational leader either. He's just reading it
Yeah.
intelligently, going, my goodness, this denies free will. And yet all these Christians are saying maybe this is the greatest gift God ever gave them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good when you love to judge other people and be better than others. In fact, you need a free will to do that, because by their free will, they didn't choose the right thing. So therefore, they've made a mistake. And I'm right, you're wrong. Let's kill them even. Heck with love your enemy. All right, Ryan.
All right.
Later.
All right. Later.